Good morning, students. Myself, Mrs. Archana. I will be taking a session in history. In the last session, I taught you first lesson in history, that is the Indian subcontinent and history. Now, I will teach you a second lesson in history, that is children, when you visit your native place, you must have seen in your ancestral house some things like old cupboard, bed, trunk, utensils which belong to your grandparents' time. A number of objects used by our ancestors still exist. History can also be learned through customs and traditions, folk arts, folk literature, as well as historical documents. All these are known as sources of history. There are three types of sources of history. First, material sources. Second, written sources. And third, oral sources. I repeat, material sources, written sources and oral sources. Now, let us understand the first sources of history, that is material sources. Man uses a variety of things in his day-to-day life. They are known as artifacts. Artifacts used by humans in the past provide us valuable information about life in the ancient times. Children, if you have visited Jahangir Art Gallery, you must have seen there are different stone tools used by Stone Age man. It has been displayed. Or suppose if you go to Pratapgarh Fort, you have the different things, artifacts. Okay, the sword, shield used by Shivaji Maharaj. Okay, so this artifacts gives us valuable information about life in the ancient times. By seeing these artifacts, we can understand the period to which it belongs, like earthen pots. By studying the shape, color and designs on ancient pottery, the ornaments and other artifacts throws light on social interaction. If you see the ornaments used by people during the period of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa and compare it with the ornaments which we use in modern times, there's lots of difference. Okay, so it throws light, these ornaments throws light on social interaction. By seeing the remains of food grains, seeds and bones of animal found in excavation, we get information about the diet of the people. Also, we find the remains of houses and buildings built in different historical periods. For example, ancient coins, seals, it gives information about the human activities in the past. All such artifacts, articles, monuments or their ruins are called the material sources of history. Now our next source is written sources. Written sources of history include inscriptions carved on temple walls, walls of rock-cut caves and rocks, inscriptions on copper plates, pots, bricks, and on writing sheets made from palm leaves and birch bark, etc. Children, the Stone Age people had recorded many such events and expressed their emotions in painting on rocks. Last year in 5th standard, you learned about Stone Age, isn't it? Okay. There you must have learned that how Stone Age man used to express himself, his emotions, certain events which he sees in the nature. Okay, suppose lightning or a hunting scene, all this he used to depict by painting on rocks. Okay, he used to paint his emotions, he used to express his thoughts and emotions on cave wall or on the rocks. It was only after thousands of years that man learned the art of writing. Before the art of writing was invented, humans used symbols and signs to record their thoughts and ideas. They used to communicate among themselves through symbols and signs. Then it took thousands of years for a script to develop from this sign language. In the beginning, man wrote on potsherds, unbaked bricks, using pointed objects. He also used birch tree bark to write. Birch tree, it was also known as birch means burja. The bark on which they used to write, it was called as burja patra, means writing sheets made from the bark of a birch tree. Burja is the Sanskrit name of the birch tree. These birch trees are found in Kashmir. As his experience and knowledge increased, he began to write in different ways. All the events which he experienced in his day-to-day life, whatever he saw in his surrounding, that he began to record. For example, accounts of the proceedings of royal courts were also systematically written. Many rulers had their orders, judicial decisions, donations, etc. inscribed on stone or copper plates. Later on, Over a period of time, many forms of literature developed. Books on religion, social subjects, plays, poetry, travelogues, all these were written down. All this literature help us to understand the historical periods to which it belongs. These sources are known as the written sources of history. Now, the last source of history is the oral sources of history. Children, many times you must have heard stories from your parents, grandparents, isn't it? While going to sleep. These are known as bedtime stories. These stories sometimes it's not mentioned in story books, okay? But these stories you know because your parents or grandparents have told you. They have heard these stories from their parents or grandparents by word of mouth. Okay? So this is how ovies, folk songs, folk tales and literature passed from generation to generation by word of mouth. This literature is not in the written form. Its authors are unknown. This type of source is called as oral sources of history. See the table displayed on your screen. It shows the different sources of history: material sources, written sources, oral sources, which I taught you just now. Material sources: artifacts, rock paintings, pottery, terracotta objects, beads, ornaments, sculptures, metal objects, coins, weapons. Structural remains: caves, houses, stupas, rock cut caves, temples, churches, mosques, pillars. Next, written sources: inscriptions on Harappan seals, Vedic literature, Mesopotamian clay tablets, manuscript copies of Mahabharata and Ramayana, Jain and Buddhist literature, writings of Greek historians, travelogues by Chinese travelers, books on grammar, Puranas and inscriptions. Third, oral sources: the Vedic, Buddhist and Jain literature of ancient India was preserved by oral tradition. It is now available in the written form. Even so, the oral tradition is still alive. When oral compositions are used for history writing, they are included in the oral source. Now next we'll learn sources of ancient Indian history. The ancient period of Indian history extends from the Stone Age to the 8th century CE. Children, you must be wondering, what is CE? Now let me make you understand this. Just see the chart displayed on the screen. AD means Anno Domini. Anno Domini means in the year of the Lord. And BC, that is before Christ, before the birth of Jesus Christ. AD or CE is known as Common Era. BC or BCE is known as Before Common Era. And BP means Before Present. See the timeline given there. At the center, it's written birth of Jesus. On the left hand side, you will see 100 BC, 200 BC, 300 BC. That is 100 years before the birth of Jesus Christ. 200 years before the birth of Jesus Christ. And right side we have AD, that is 100 years after the birth of Jesus Christ. Same way it follows, 200 years, 300 years after the birth of Jesus Christ. This is how the time and date is mentioned. The ancient period of Indian history, it extends from the Stone Age to the 8th century CE. Now children, Stone Age period we came to know because of archaeological excavation. That time scripts had not developed, so written sources are not available. But later on, after 1500 BCE onwards, Vedic literature derived. So the Vedas earlier were not in the written form. Ancient Indians had developed the technique of memorizing and reciting them. Later on, the Vedas and the post-Vedic literature form an important source of ancient Indian history. It includes the Brahmanas, the Upanishads, the epic Ramayana and Mahabharata, the Jain and Buddhist literature, plays, poems, stone and pillar inscriptions, travelogues of foreign travelers. We learn about ancient Indian history through material sources like archaeological remains, ancient monuments, and coins found in the excavation. And the last, we are going to learn about precaution to be taken while writing history. It is necessary to take precaution while using these sources to write history. A written document cannot be said to be authentic just because it is old. It needs to be examined critically as to who wrote it, why, and when it was written. So, while coming to the conclusion, we have to cross-check all the documents with one another. Such a critical analysis is very important in the writing of history. I hope you all understood the lesson. Thank you.